Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joe Palermo, your conference coordinator and co-presenter. Thank you for standing by and welcome to our live webinar on EXL Express Survey. During this presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. Our 30 to 40-minute presentation will be followed by a Q&A session, where participants will have an opportunity to ask questions through the chat function. A couple of quick administrative items before we start. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode, so there is no need to put your ringer on silent. Also, today's webinar is being recorded and will be made available on our website by the end of the week. Although lines are muted, we do encourage you to ask questions during today's presentation. Please submit any questions using the questions window located on the right side of your screen. Type your question into the box, click send, and it will be sent directly to a meeting organizer for the Q&A session we will host at the end of the webinar. Should you encounter any technical difficulties during the webinar, please also utilize our questions window to describe your issue, and one of our support staff will be in contact with you to troubleshoot. Throughout the webinar, we will also have a couple of polling questions to gather your input. When we reach those points, I'll read off the question and you'll be able to select from a list of options. With that, I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's presentation. I'd like to hand the presentation now over to Craig. Over to you,
Thanks,
Craig.
Joe. Thanks, Joe. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. I appreciate you taking time to join us for this presentation on EXL Express Surveys. As Joe mentioned, my name is Craig Locanti, and I am Vice President and Head of EXL Survey and Risk Control. I started my career in underwriting with Liberty Mutual, then went on to co-found Castle High Value Surveys in the 1990s, and I've been with the company ever since. I now lead EXL's personal lines underwriting survey business, most known for our Castle team, and also lead our commercial lines risk control practice, providing commercial surveys and loss control services to commercial carriers. Express Surveys is our innovative new solution at EXL, customized for both personal lines and commercial lines clientele, and I'm excited to share the solution with you today. We're going to start with a polling question. Joe?
Good morning. Geospatial analytics is a trend which is seeing widespread industry and customer implementation and adoption where market and applications are understood. Is this true or false? We'll let folks answer questions for a moment. Okay, let's click on that. Okay, poll results. 69% of you all said it was true and 31% said false. Great answer. Geospatial analytics is a term many of you are familiar with, but for some folks it may be new. Simply put, geospatial analytics is data analytics based on a location. Location data is described in terms of geographic coordinates, street addresses, and postal codes, etc., and becomes the linchpin when it is combined with industry data. Our industry is seeing a great deal of movement in this area, and Express Survey fits neatly into this space. We are taking that geospatial data and utilizing it in our product, Express Surveys. In addition, our clients are gathering this data so it can be utilized in their analytic process. Craig, back to you.
Thanks, Joe. Well, who is EXL? Some of you know us as Castle or Overland Solutions, but 4 years ago, we were acquired by EXL. Many of our attendees are with companies already partnering with EXL, but for those unfamiliar, I thought I'd just take a minute to provide a quick background. EXL specializes in operations management, analytics, and digital intelligence. Headquartered in New York, we have more than 29,000 employees in locations throughout the world. And EXL has several verticals, but insurance is our largest, representing almost 50% of the company. We're very proud and happy to be part of the EXL team as they've brought us tremendous talent and resources, allowing us to expand our capabilities and our product set. At EXL, we use the term digital intelligence to define the all-important combination of digital and domain knowledge, human and technology coming together to create breakthrough results. EXL acquired Castle and Overland for our deep domain expertise in underwriting, risk control, and premium audit. With the rapid advancement of technology across areas like robotics, AI, and analytics, No single tool can result in digital success. Instead, multiple technologies must be orchestrated together in the right combination with the right human interventions to improve business outcomes. This digital intelligence is the foundation of our Express Survey product. You need a partner who can orchestrate human talent, domain expertise, data, and technology to create the right context and the right outcomes. Combining EXL's digital know-how with our domain expertise, we created Express Surveys to be a superior underwriting tool. All right, well, that's a little on EXL. The remainder of this presentation will focus on our Express Survey product. What we'll do is we'll start with a short 60-second video, move on to provide a little background and context into how the product came to be. We'll share key features of Express, including some sample reports on both personal lines and commercial lines. And we'll then share case studies for, again, both personal and commercial lines. And we'll end with some final thoughts and some questions. Before we start this video, just please be aware that the audio from the video will be coming through your computer, not through your telephone. So if you could just take a second to turn up the volume on your computer so that you can hear, I think you'll appreciate it better. All right, so let's watch the video.
Are your underwriters stuck in the past when it comes to handling property inspections? Waiting weeks for results, inconveniencing customers, and eating up your budget? EXL knows there's a better way, harnessing the mountains of data now available to more quickly and efficiently assess risk and validate coverage limits. That's why we created Express Surveys. This innovative solution delivers accurate risk and construction data, real-time photographs, and expert underwriting analysis, fueled by EXL Analytics, and packaged for easy processing and decision-making. Express Surveys dramatically accelerates cycle times and supports your goal of a seamless 21st century policyholder experience. Of course, our tech-savvy approach also means lower costs for you. Visit our website to find out how you can put the power of Express Surveys to work for you.
Before I get into specifics about our Express Survey solution, I like to review the evolution of homeowners underwriting. We put together this graphic to set some context for where we fit in and also where we're going. This slide focuses on personal lines, but many of the same concepts apply to. So the reason I started with a picture of a broker is because the agent was often the field underwriter, sitting in the living room, asking the policyholder questions about their home and about their living habits. Property inspections were also done, but were very manual and often included an investigation into the applicant's character and living habits. The inspectors actually interviewed neighbors about things like parties and drinking habits, and even looked in garbage cans for liquor bottles. Well, credit and clue came along in the 1990s as a more scientific and efficient way to assess a policyholder's risk profile. But there still lacked a good way to underwrite home condition at point of sale. In the last 10 years, there have been improvements for sure with the inspection process through analytics models, through structured data, through platforms, but the fundamental challenge of completing the underwriting process at the point of sale remains to this day. Not only is this an inefficient and costly repercussion, but it can be very disruptive to your customers and agents, as they often get surprises a few weeks after they thought they've bought and finalized their policy. The replacement cost and premiums may change, or they discover they were declined by underwriting altogether, which obviously is. While we and others work on a full point-of-sale solution to address property condition, our Express Survey product delivers improved results today. Not only does Express provide real additional value now, but it also supports our effort towards the larger point-of-sale objective by building on the data set. So the way we started out this process was whiteboarding carrier pain points to make sure that in addition to just utilizing new data and aerial imagery and tech, we were also addressing the real needs of our clients, whom we talk to every day. First on our list was cycle time. We understood and hear over and over the importance of getting actionable reports in a timely manner to properly make the underwriting decision. Second was policyholder friction. By this we mean complaints from insureds regarding the inspection process, complaints related to the inspector themselves, complaints related to scheduling, the inconvenience of it all, etc. The need to provide excellent customer service has never been greater or more important. Finally, the cost of the inspection program. Companies are constantly challenged to do more with less and maximize their ROI. This includes their inspection programs, which can be a pretty sizable budget item. So when we started thinking about all of this, it became very clear that the source of all three of these pain points is the challenge of finding an inspector with both solid inspection expertise and also adequate professionalism to drive to a home and inspect it in a timely manner. And given the commoditized nature of the business, companies really can't pay these inspectors much more than minimum wage, so that just adds to the challenge. So the inspiration for Express really came from Google Street View. I'm sure all of us have looked at our own homes or the home of a family member or neighbor on Google Street View. It's obviously a very widely used tool. So we just started thinking, if Google Street View, if those photos were real time and were high resolution, and you could have an underwriting expert review this data, would you really bother the insured with an inspection? For example, if an underwriter could view a live webcam of the home, would you order the inspection from an inspection company? Most companies absolutely would not. And though we don't have a true live webcam, we have an equivalent. And this is borne out by the reception of our product in the marketplace. This slide's a great summary of our Express solution. We've orchestrated what we believe to be the perfect mix of data, technology, and people to create a better and more cost-effective solution to underwriting property inspections. Look, there's been a lot of talk in recent years about virtual surveys and virtual surveys supplanting traditional inspections. Several data providers are combining aerial imagery with their proprietary or other data to calculate replacement cost and even assess risk. We think these products are intriguing, but most carriers that we speak to are uncomfortable taking underwriting action based on dated aerial imagery or based on probabilities or confidence levels about the risk. What's missing is the conclusive proof of hazards that current ground level street photos can provide. Our Express solution starts with this foundation of robust data and aerial imagery, but we also bring in real-time street level photos to provide the hard evidence needed to decline or non-renew a policy. We capture the photos through an expansive network of mobile-enabled photographers 50 times larger than the leading inspection companies, allowing for very rapid turnaround times. And another key innovation is this piece on the right. It's decentralizing the data analysis among highly trained professional underwriting technicians as opposed to hundreds or thousands of varying skill set inspectors. And this allows us to ensure accuracy and precision. All of this data is then rolled up into a comprehensive and actionable report, accurately assessing risk and replacement cost for each property. Joe, I'll turn it over to you for a moment to highlight some of the key features.
Thank you, Craig. I just wanted to take a moment to discuss some of the key features of our Express Survey product. First of all, Express Survey is available in all 50 states. In fact, many of our reports are often received within the first 2 days of request all across the country. Overall, the results are quick, accurate, and have an average cycle time of only 4 days. We believe this is a great solution for carriers that want to incorporate faster underwriting decisions into their processes. As you will see further in the presentation, Express Surveys also provide current actionable photos that can assist your underwriters in making accurate decisions based on the home or business as it exists in its current state. With this product, we are providing a cost-effective, streamlined policyholder experience. There is no policyholder friction with Express. Your clients won't be disturbed because Express does not require policyholder interaction. This reduced friction comes in an additional cost savings of 50% over traditional high-friction home inspections. Our expert underwriting technicians can provide you with a sophisticated risk score for easy processing and decision-making. When coupled with our current photos and our advanced data and analytics, Express Survey provides an accurate risk assessment report complete with construction and valuation data that you will need to make quick and accurate decisions. Craig, back to you.
Thanks, Joe. All right, well, let's take a look at an actual Express report. I'll walk you through a couple of pages. This is page 1 for our personal lines Express Survey report. We designed it with efficiency of the underwriter in mind. Our goal was to not require the underwriter to look through the whole report, look through photos for hazards, etc. We pull that out very vividly on page 1. We include a photo of the front of the home with the date the photo was taken, the geocode. On the right, you've got property overview information. We also call your attention to any hazards on the property, categorized into major categories that make sense for either personal lines or commercial lines policies. We also have a risk score in the bottom left, which we have a default based on our data and our expertise that we provide, but that can be customized based on each carrier's underwriting guidelines. And finally, we also list insurance to value results on the page as well. As you move through the report, you'll find photos of the home as well. High resolution photos let you zoom in to accurately assess the condition for hazards if need be. We'll also zoom in and highlight those for you like we did in this example, where you can see that there's peeling paint and problems with the siding. The photos of our Express report include front view, 2 side views, aerial imagery, both ortho, which is top down, and oblique, which is 3D. And that's all in there for the report for you, and we zoom in on any hazards that we find. Also in the report, as you move deeper, is all of the content that was evaluated, and this page shows hazards, and we call out any problems very, very easily for you to navigate to. But again, these things will drive the risk score and drive those infographics on page 1. In addition to hazards, we also include replacement cost valuation, or that can be ordered as part of an Express survey. And we do have the capability of providing an MSB, CoreLogic valuation, or a 360 value valuation, and we'll soon be launching E2 value as well. Really proud to share this case study with you. These are the results of a top 10 personal lines homeowners carrier who switched to Express for a segment of their book a little over a year ago. This carrier has made customer experience a key strategic priority, and that's why they chose Express. Cost savings, underwriting efficiencies, turnaround time, they weren't the primary drivers of the decision. They were just icing on the cake. Well, the program was a huge success, and they're now applying the Express approach more broadly across their book. But let me talk through just a couple of the highlights here. I'll start with 0 policyholder complaints. This was as compared to 25 per month they were getting through their prior vendor. So that was a big win. Also, 4 times faster. We averaged 4 days on these Express surveys versus 20 plus days they were getting on average from their prior provider. The cost savings were 21%. They spent $570,000 on Express surveys over the course of this year, which was $150,000 less than they would have spent had they used their other provider. More hazards were identified due to our Center of Excellence with our underwriting techs, and the carrier reported to us a $2.6 million annual premium enhancement, and that was strictly due to insurance to value by us helping find and correct underinsured policies. Let's move on to another polling question, Joe.
Great, thank you, Craig. Polling question will be loading in a second. Okay, with baby boomers retiring, it is getting easier to find property and casualty consultants to perform surveys and inspections. Yes or no? Let's give ourselves a moment to get some answers and responses. Oh, it's interesting. It's bouncing around a little bit. Okay, let's run with what we've got. So, 24% of you said yes, it's getting easier, and 76% said no, it's not getting easier. So it's great. It's pretty much the result we were thinking of, but we're sorry for the trick question because the answer does vary depending on what your company does. Happily, baby boomers are living longer and healthier lives after retirement. For service companies like EXL, it's actually getting easier to find qualified retirees looking to supplement their income and, frankly, to fill their time. For carriers, MGAs, and brokers, it is getting more difficult as the pool of safety professionals is not expanding at the same rate as the retirements are. This is just one more reason to utilize Express Survey for our commercial risks, which is what we're going to jump into right now. As soon as the screen hands back to Craig. Okay. Before we tackle this slide, I wanted to briefly discuss how Commercial Surveys was launched. Prior to joining EXL, I had had over 30 years of a commercial experience at regional and national carriers. When we reviewed the Personal Lines Express product, it was obvious to our team that this was a unique and sorely needed product for the commercial space. It is truly a no-brainer. We created a commercial product that is a true hybrid product. This product is a truly combined combination of on-site, virtual, and complex desktop surveys that, when these are all combined, feeds the underwriter the needed data they can rapidly deploy to evaluate their specific risks. EXL launched our commercial version of Express Survey over the summer of 2018 as we saw a requirement for our clients to survey large numbers of locations quickly, accurately, efficiently, and with actionable results that the clients could use. Our clients are using Express Survey for InsurTech opportunities, book reviews, small commercial, lesser's risk exposures, and application verification, along with go and no-go decisions. Here are some of the early results. When we look at the key features and results of Commercial Express Survey, we have found since our launch that what Express Surveys can do to make underwriting and risk control easier, quicker, and even more accurate. So far, our surveys are finding actionable results, particularly in the roof arena. We are identifying roof issues such as ponding, debris accumulation, significant discoloration on many membrane roofs, and not so surprisingly, we're rarely finding any built-up roofs anymore. So we are analyzing membrane roofs for the conditions that are readily visible to our HD aerial photos. When combined with our high-definition on-site photos and technical analysis, this becomes a powerful tool for identifying many basic property issues, as well as liability issues like slip, trip, fall potential, and ADA accessibility. It's fast. With an average cycle time of 5 days, we have made application verification very simple, accurate, and convenient. It's very current. Many online photos are updated. Our HD photos are up to date and high quality. Our high definition roof photos are updated semi-annually, and our on-site photos verifies what you are underwriting. Let's look at the photo on the right from one of the reports we have completed. When we look at the September photo, we see a large facility with a significant number of solar panels. But when we look at the May roof photo, we see some damage to the panels. And when our technicians are able to zoom in, we can see significant damage to the roof and solar panels. This is very powerful, all for a very cost-effective price. In addition to the high-definition on-site photos, high-definition aerial photos, and analysis, our key data points such as crime statistics and Better Business Bureau ratings are provided. We can even provide a building valuation, all for 45% less than a traditional commercial survey. Express Survey won't upset your clients or agents. We take exterior photos so there's no client friction. No more worries about appointments and missed issues. It's easy to use. There's no more scheduling issues, and we've had no complaints from our clients or their clients. We use our technicians that are already experienced with commercial lines report quality to do the desktop review and virtual portions of the report. This staff is fully capable of reviewing our photos and data to develop a report your underwriters can use. With our risk analysis and key data points, we are doing the underwriting and risk control analysis so your staff is free to just grow the book. Now, this is an interesting slide. For those of you with exposures to wildfire, you will find this report of particular interest. When looked at with older traditional satellite imagery, this California roof was sparkling clean. When looked at semi-annually with aircraft imagery, we see significant debris accumulation from leaves on the roof. When our technician zooms in, In this restaurant, we see piles of leaves in the corners all around the kitchen exhaust and the air handling equipment. With date-stamped photos, we can produce an actionable report for the underwriter to utilize with the client and the agent. That's a quick example of commercial express surveys. Now over to you, Craig.
Thanks, Joe. This slide compares the field forces of traditional inspection company to Express. On the left, you see the footprint of a typical inspection company with 1,000 to 2,000 inspectors. In fact, the largest traditional inspection company out there has 2,000 in their field. And on the right, you have the Express network of photographers, which is 75,000 strong and growing rapidly. This exponentially larger network means, one, much faster turnaround time because people are closer to the homes or the businesses that need inspected, and two, a lower price point because there's less drive time involved. We see this advantage continuing to expand as we move forward, not only because the Express network is growing, but also because traditional inspection company densities are shrinking as analytics and other innovative approaches to the underwriting problem result in fewer total inspections being ordered. Fewer inspections ordered means fewer inspectors available, which just increases the challenge of a traditional company. Express's turnaround time will only improve as the network grows, and though we're currently averaging 4 days, this will become same day in the not too distant future. As we've discussed before, in today's survey environment, it's becoming increasingly expensive and sometimes even a challenge to get a report back to the underwriter with enough time to take action. Express, with an average of 4-day turnaround time, solves this issue and provides real-time photos. That said, remote South Dakota is still remote South Dakota, so some areas will present challenge. Fortunately, we've developed a solution that delivers 100% of surveys within the underwriting window, even in these remote locations. We do this by supplementing cases where we can't get real-time photos with our Express Lite product. Express Lite provides a condensed report with aerial imagery, property condition, replacement cost to identify poor risks. Carriers have sent us a clear message that they find it preferable to get some data about the risk within the underwriting window rather than a full report too late to take action. On Express Lite surveys, where we find evidence of a poor risk, we can get you current photos, real-time photos to support underwriting action, and we can do this through our traditional high-value survey or risk control field force. The bottom line is that the Express solution addresses all of these challenges, delivering 100% back within your underwriting window. So I thought I'd share a couple bullets about our roadmap for Express. First is Express Roofs, which is a condensed product we'll soon be launching using high-resolution aerial imagery to assess the condition of roofs. It can be ordered as a standalone product or as a supplement to a traditional risk control survey. The first iteration will be focused on larger commercial buildings. And again, we're going to be launching this within the next 30 days. Secondly, more data. We'll of course continue to add more data to our Express product as it becomes available and as customers request it. Examples of this include natural hazard data, flood data, underground oil tanks, etc. More automation, of course, improving turnaround time even further. And finally, our goal is to provide a true point-of-sale solution for property condition, as mentioned earlier. In closing, I'll reshare this slide with you. As we whiteboarded, Express solves today's pain points in the inspection process and offers a better way to capture and provide inspection data, all the while moving EXL and our partners closer to that point-of-sale solution. So with that, Joe, I'll turn this back to you to ask some of the questions that came in from the group.
Great, thank you. We will now be entering our question and answer session. As a reminder, please submit your questions using the questions window located on the right side of your screen. We did receive one question during the lead up to the question session, and we can start off with that, Craig. While other folks submit their questions, it is, how many surveys have you completed so far?
Well, we are approaching 50,000 Express surveys completed, approaching fast. We're extremely pleased with this growth and the market reception of the product. Oh, and let me just say that one of the things I'm very pleased with is that of those 50,000, we've only had 2 policyholder complaints out of 50,000, and they were also extremely minor compared to what we were experiencing in the regular inspection world.
Okay, I've got a broad question here. I mean, we did talk about some of this during the presentation, but let's just give a little bit more clarity around it. What data are you accessing for these reports?
Well, a good chunk of the data is derived from the imagery collected from both the street photos and the aerial imagery, but other data includes home characteristics like square footage, year built, basement, number of bathrooms, those sorts of things, roof type, which we can get from both public records and real estate sources. We also, in addition to those home characteristic data points, bring in hazard data such as fire protection, crime, natural hazards, and some carriers have contracts with other providers where they're asking us to include that data in our report, which we can do. Generally speaking, though, I guess I think a key point is our strategy is to bring in very low cost or even free data to keep down the cost for the insurance carrier, and we really leverage the data that you can glean and the observations you can glean from the photos.
Okay, great. This is more of a personal lines question. I mean, we have some of this in the commercial arena, you know, where maybe the location is locked. We've got a lot of, we've got more access, it seems, when we're doing these in the commercial lines. But here's the question for personal lines. For years, we struggled with accessing backyards. How are you getting insight into the backyard?
Well, this question kind of gets back to the webcam analogy I made earlier. We provide real-time front view, side view pictures, as well as aerial imagery. And the aerial imagery, by the way, does involve the backyard. But this really gets to the fact that the front views and side views provide a great representation of the home. And our case study bears out that Express is equally as effective as traditional inspections. And when I have conversations with clients about this subject, I like to bring it back to the fact that all carriers have to make trade-offs from a return on investment standpoint. And for instance, they're not making the decision to decide every single home right now because it's just too cost prohibitive, and the return on investment of going inside, the amount of times that you find a problem inside most homes is, compared to what you can see from the outside, it just doesn't justify the extra cost or the inconvenience to the policyholder. So that's how we think about this problem. You can find whether it's a good risk or a bad risk based on real-time front views, side views, and the augmentation of the aerial imagery, which does show the backyard, plus other data sources that we bring in. So that's how I answer that question.
Okay, great. They're starting to roll in now. The questions. I have a question. It is, how old are the aerial images on a commercial survey, and how do you get them? And do you want to handle that, Craig? I know it's twice a year, but it probably needs a little bit more color around it.
Well, sure, I can handle that. We partner with a provider who does take images of aerial imagery, high definition 3D of all the metropolitan areas in the country, representing 70% of all the population in the United States. They take this twice annually. And so that's what we use for our commercial lines product. We can also provide that with the personal lines Express. There is a small upcharge to use the high resolution photo as opposed to more low resolution photos. So it's sort of part of the conversation as we're discussing what they're looking for.
Okay, great. And let's see, this sounds like a personal lines question. Based on the age of the dwelling, do you offer functional replacement cost and replacement cost? So maybe actual cash value?
Actual cash value. Yeah, so we can configure. So yes, the answer is yes. We can use the tool to provide actual cash value value on the property as opposed to full replacement cost. And further, I mentioned earlier we can use MSB or 360 value or E2 value. We also can use the instance of the carrier has, so that we stay in tune with any special configurations you might have and the updates that you get as far as when you're updating to which cost version and so forth. All completely configurable. And that's just something that was part of our historical inspection process, so that's very familiar to us.
Okay, great. Here's another question. Again, it's on the commercial surveys. Is the field force photo inspectors only, and how would we add? And this is common. How do we add to obtain interior inspections? When we started out with this product, and I'll take it, Craig, and please feel free to add. Is when we started out, we were talking about doing interior surveys and interior inspections and photos, but we came to realize it just creates more problems than it solves, we believe. We're perfectly willing to try it with someone where we can get someone to go inside, but when do you go inside? Do you go inside the mortuary? Do you go inside the dentist office, or is it just the grocery store or the pharmacy? So that's where we ran into a little bit of question there.
Well, the other point I'll make there is that we also do have a risk control field force too that does go inside properties every single day. There's an extra cost associated with that, but we can certainly offer that up if that's what you're looking for.
Okay. Active proof. So let's see another question. For Commercial Express, how do you handle multiple structures at one site? Would it be separate orders? So the answer to that is yes. So either you put in the address, or we can do it on a spreadsheet. You can do like a book review, send us 1,000 on an Excel spreadsheet that we provide you with. It's basic information that you can download from your systems. And we'll look at each location separately. Sometimes what we get, you get a large set of buildings and the address will come in as, 100 to 500 Main Street or 100 to 200 Main Street. And we have a program that verifies that and looks at it. And we would reach back out to you and say, hey, you requested one location, but you've got 5. How do you want to handle that? So that's a good question to get all the time. Let's see. Got one last question, Craig, and then we'll be able to wrap up. What do you see as the next real evolution of risk control surveys? Will it involve drones? What are your thoughts on ideas about drones going forward?
Well, yeah, drones comes up a fair amount. I was thinking a lot about drones a year or two ago about how they could be part of the underwriting process. They're clearly being adopted for claims. You just see that everywhere. I just am not seeing the cost benefit calculus being there for underwriting, except for large commercial structures. It's just too expensive as an underwriting tool to, apply on a large scale to have someone go fly a drone. So maybe someday there'll be autonomous drones out there taking pictures of neighborhoods. I don't see that happening anytime real soon. And the individual driving to the property, flying the drones, it makes sense for claims. You've already got a loss. You want to settle that and adjust that properly. It's a more cost-effective way to get on the roof and so forth. But on the underwriting process, just don't see it there.
Yeah, it's interesting. We had the idea of, where you just you had a handheld drone. You got out of your car, you put it on the ground, and you hit a button and it hit a pre-programmed course taking photos. And what we found is it's just not permitted under the current standards too. So it's more complicated. You need to have an FAA license and those types of things. So it is expensive. It is costly. I do have one last question and then we'll wrap up. It's how current, when we asked about how current the aerial photos are, they'll be twice a year. But it's really more a question of how granular in regard to damage, age, roof cover, et cetera. and how do you obtain it. So you talked about it briefly, but those photos are taken basically by a low-level airplane with a high-resolution photo. We obviously don't fly areas when they're snow-covered and things like that. So we're taking it through flyover twice a year, and it's not available in every single location, but it is for most of them. And if it's not available, we'll look at a general satellite photo at the default.
Yeah, and also say, I think just to add to that, the resolution of it is 3-inch. So basically, each pixel is 3-inch. So you're not going to see a hail strike. If we're talking about personal lines, homes, you're not going to see that level of granularity. It's just not there. You will see, significant roof problems. It is the reason we're launching Express Roof for commercial first is because you've got larger roofs where you can see the examples that Joe provided of ponding or other damage to the roof, sort of more significant. And on homes, you can see significant concerns and significant wearing as well, but it's not to the level where you can see a hail strike.
Yeah, and I agree. When we look at the photos there, you see a lot on the commercial roofs. It's amazing how many problems can be avoided by looking in that direction. It's really shown a lot of promise in that area. Okay, well, let's thank everybody for attending. Unfortunately, we didn't get to every single question. There's one or two here that I'll reach back out to folks as they're more targeted towards their specific risks. If you submitted a question and it was not answered, we will contact you shortly. Just a quick reminder, when you registered, if you attended today, you are eligible for a no-cost pilot with Express Survey. We will be contacting the winner of the pilot before the end of the day today, so good luck, everybody. Thank you for attending our presentation. If you are looking for any additional information or assistance with Express Survey, please contact your account manager or myself, Joe Palermo, at 651-587-1891 or joe.palermo@exlservice.com. On behalf of EXL, this concludes the conference. Thank you for joining, and you may disconnect from the call now. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.